Hello. Today's story is about a little creature who lives in a pond. In fact, he was born on a water lily leaf. When he was small, he was ever so tiny, but then he grew, and he grew, and he grew. But let's start at the very beginning. Horatio Newt was born one sunny spring morning upon a water lily leaf. There he was, inside a shell so clear and thin you could see right inside. He was a funny little creature, all curled up with his nose against his tail. Sometimes inside his shell he would wriggle and twist as if to make himself more comfortable. I'm a growing little newt, I'm a stretching little newt, I'm a cute little newt, I am. Until one day when he was doing this, crick, crack, crang, the eggshell broke and out slipped Horatio into the water, down to the bottom of the pond. He lay there very still among the water weeds for a while. Oh, I am glad that's over, all that growing and stretching and everything. But still, Horatio went on growing, even when he was out of his shell. Tiny legs began to form, and soon he found he could dart and dash about the pond faster than ever. Bigger, stronger, and more handsome Horatio became, until he was like a tiny dragon with a crest of gold upon his head. Then he would climb up the muddy bank and rest upon a flat stone at the shallow end of the pond. Looking at himself in the water, he would sing, I'm a handsome newt, I'm a brave big newt, I'm a fabulous newt, that's me. Mrs. Newt, who wasn't quite so beautiful to look at, was afraid to come out of the water. Only at night time would she creep out in search of food. But she was worried about Horatio. Oh, Horatio, oh, she would wail. Come back this minute. You know it's safer down here than on land. Horatio, oh. Oh, fiddle-dee-dee, not me. I'm as safe as... Oh, goodness me. Mrs. Newt never heard what Horatio was as safe as, because just at that moment he was picked up by a great big land monster and put into a glass jar. Big eyes stared at Horatio through the jar. Other land monsters came to look at him. Oh, what would they do to him? Were they going to eat him? Gobble him up in one gulp? Horatio felt very frightened. Then one of the land monsters spoke. Oh, look, miss, isn't he lovely? Yes, he certainly is. Let's take him back to school for our aquarium, shall we, children? Oh, yes, let's. Please, miss. Poor Horatio. Oh, mercy me. I'm a worried little newt, a scared little newt. That's me. But he needn't have worried. He was soon in the school classroom, where he was tipped out into the aquarium. He swam around, taking a good look at this strange new place. Oh, what funny sort of water this is! It was cold and light, not a bit like the pond. and it's got hard edges. Ouch! His nose had come up against the glass side, and he wondered why he couldn't get through it. In the aquarium there were snails and waterweed, like there were in his own pond, so he didn't feel quite so strange after a while. And the land monsters brought him scraps of raw meat, which he gobbled up in no time. Even so, Horatio was miserable. He missed the pond very much, and he wanted more than anything else to find his way back there. Then he noticed that the land monsters went away every afternoon at the same time and didn't come back until the next morning. So every night he crawled up the sides of the aquarium. And one night someone had forgotten to put the cover on the aquarium. So Horatio slipped out of the tank and down onto the dusty classroom floor. Over the floor, across the classroom, down the corridor, out through a crack under the door of the main entrance. Then, through the playground he crawled, and away down the hill towards the pond with the 2 wooden bridges. Now, in land monster miles, the distance between the aquarium and the pond takes no time at all. But for a tiny newt like Horatio, it was like a long and difficult journey through an unknown land. But I'm a strong little newt, a brave little newt, a never give up little newt. That's me. And he didn't give up. On and on he crawled, until at last he reached the pond again, and he slipped into the water. At once, a crowd of newts came swimming towards him. He tried to call out to them, but he was too weak and tired. The other newts crowded round him, and they didn't look at all friendly. "Who are you?" Horatio gulped and gasped and tried to tell them. "He doesn't answer. He's a stranger. He's an enemy. Let's get rid of him." Angrily, they swam towards him, tails lashing and jaws snapping, all ready to gobble him up. But as they came closer still, one cried out, "Oh, no! Oh, stop, stop! Can't you see it's Horatio? Oh, tell them it's you, Horatio," pleaded Mrs. Newt, swimming up close beside him. "I'm a sad little newt. I'm a tired little newt. But I'm a glad to be home newt. That's me," gasped Horatio. "Oh, no, it can't be. Is it possible?" cried all the newts. "Yes, of course it is. Don't you think I know my own Horatio?" said Mrs. Newt. It was certainly hard for them to believe that this miserable creature before them was the once handsome Horatio. But then they knew nothing of Horatio's adventures until, when he grew stronger, Horatio told them all about the land monsters. That's probably why, when the school children come down now each spring looking for newts for their aquarium, they never seem to find any. None of them want to be caught, like Horatio was. I hope you liked that story, and I'm sure you knew who the land monsters were. Yes, they were boys and girls from a school. Well, that's all there's time for today, but I look forward to reading you another story some other time. So, until then, goodbye.